Before we get started, I just wanted to acknowledge that, yesterday there was an incident in Florence County, South Carolina, where 7 law officers were shot at. Several were wounded, and one unfortunately was a fatality. Just want to make sure everybody knows that our thoughts and prayers of this organization go out to those folks, their families, and the people in that county. Okay. Just to let you guys know, Julius was back at practice full 100%, and Greg participated in a limited capacity.
And Pep been kind of nursing something?
No, Peps yesterday was all, how was a delicate way to put it? Senior day off. There we go. We did. We're at the point now where this is going to be Pep's new normal. We're going to manage him on Mondays. He'll come in. He'll do walkthrough stuff. He'll do some individual stuff, and then he'll off to the side. He'll work with Joe Ken and his staff. He'll come in early, and then he'll work with Ryan Vermillion and his staff as well on Wednesdays. And then Thursday he'll have a normal practice. Friday we'll have him in a limited capacity, just gearing towards having him on Sunday. But as I said, right now this is just a new normal for Pep.
This week everyone's on the same page with Greg, not playing this week. Do you think, by Monday he'll start bugging?
We'll see. Today was a little bit of a step up in terms of activity. He came out of yesterday's practice, or yesterday's workout, I should say, feeling very good this morning, and asked if he could do some individual stuff with the tight ends and the rest of the offense. So they did. They allowed it, and we'll see how he feels tomorrow. But again, everything is always predicated on how he feels the next day.
Kind of joked that he was putting on a show for us today.
Yes, he was. He saw you guys to the side, so he did his little thing. No, but he looked good. He really did. He moved around well. We're very happy about it. But again, everything will be about how he feels the next day. Because again, now he's stressed himself 2 days in a row. And we'll see how that happens. And then tomorrow, if everything's fine, I think we're going to try and stress him even more to see how the foot is on Saturday, and then we'll go from there as far as the next week is concerned. But, as I said, we still have him listed as limited participation, but he's not going to play this week.
You mentioned that he thought that when he was able to, whenever it is that he's able to come back this year, he thought that based on having the experience he did last year, he'd be able to make a more seamless transition this year. Have you sort of seen the same thing for him?
Yes, and plus his involvement in meetings and stuff like that. He stayed very involved immediately. Last year, he was when he first had it, he was away for a few weeks and then started coming back. He's been here every day, going through everything he's needed to in terms of preparation to come back soon.
Ron, when you hired Norv Turner, you talked a lot about how Chud and Mike Shula borrowed bits and pieces and different concepts from Norv's offense, kind of making him the overarching architect of the things that you guys do. Obviously, it changes by personnel. When you go back and you watch tape of Shula's current iteration of what he's doing, do you see common threads between the two?
There are some, but again, I think, like you said, a lot has to do with the personnel. I mean, they have a different style running back there. They've got a different style wide receiver, obviously, with Odell Beckham as one of the elite guys in this league. They have a tight end very similar in Evan Ingram, and I know he didn't play last week, but he's still a dangerous threat when he's on the football field. So there are some, and for the most part, though, it is different.
You talk so much about the signing of Reid this week, but how helpful has it been for him to have someone as his running mate in Mike Adams, who's been here, who knows what's going on?
Well, and again, not just for him, but for all the guys that are back there. Mike's he's a veteran guy. I know it's only his second season with us, but he's got double-digit years in this league. He assimilated very quickly to what we do last season, and so he's able to share that. I think that kind of experience of coming here as the new guy, fitting in, being part of what we do. I think that is invaluable, and again, it's also been good for our young DBs as well, having a guy like that back there.
Ron, what's been the emphasis placed after Tyler Boyd, Cincinnati, kind of the secondary receiver, having a little bit more of a productive secondary and third receivers having a little bit more production with the first lockdown? What's been the emphasis on Sterling Shepard this week?
Well, the emphasis really is making sure, more so than anything else, we do what we're supposed to when we use our techniques. Sure, we have to know where Odell is, and we have to be aware of those types of things, but you can't forget those other guys, and that most certainly is something. And quite honestly, you see it big time in Atlanta right now. Calvin Ridley's doing a heck of a job right now. He's really kind of stepped to the forefront because people spent so much time on Julio, and on Sanu, that that Calvin kind of is now making a name for himself. So it just shows you what having those threats can create for your guys.
Ron, Cam had mentioned that he thinks this Giants defense could be the best defense you guys have faced so far, surprised some people. With so many stars that New York has on the offensive side, do you think that defense maybe doesn't get it?
I don't think that it's it's one of those things that it happens a lot of times. That people do tend to overlook the defense when you have those type of quality stars on your offensive side. But if you look at, they've got a solid foundation up front on their defensive front. Their linebackers are all physical guys that attack downhill, and then I think with Collins and with Apple in their secondary, they've got some quality football players on that side. I think it's just a matter of time before people begin to take a notice. And right now it's been tough too because they're still trying to find their way. It's a new defensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator, and new special teams. I mean, they're in the same situation we are. It's just the difference is we've been able to keep and maintain for the most part what we do in play. They're transitioning, they're changing a lot of things that they do. So they're still growing and learning themselves.
Ron, were you all able to do much self-scouting last week, or the fact that it fell so early, was it not really worthwhile?
Oh, no, it was definitely worthwhile, Joe. Even though it was just 3 games, we were really able to dive into those 3 games. I can show you the booklet I got out of it. It was. I think there's some really good things that we picked out of it that we felt we were good at and could be better at. There were a couple things we weren't as good as we needed to be, and we are trying to correct those, and we've gotten rid of some of those things. So the benefit was that even though it was just 3 games, it gave us an opportunity to really dive. I mean, as opposed to having to look at 8 or 9 games. But I think the biggest thing we took from this more than anything else is that we had an opportunity to get some guys back. We got 3 guys back on the field now, and we'll get another one back hopefully next week if everything continues to progress well.
What do you learn about yourself defensively without TD there, and what's going to be better when he gets back?
Well, I think overall top end speed is one of the things that I do think we will get back when he shows up. And I will say this, dude, TD is an emotional player, and I think that's another thing that we'll gain getting him back on the field.
Coach, when the running game is running as well as you guys have been doing the first 3 weeks of the season, a lot of credit goes to the offensive line and the running backs, but how important are the wide receivers and the tight ends in
Well, it's that secondary level of blocking. First of all, the tight ends for the most part are going to be at the point of attack, so they're going to have to either kick somebody out or seal somebody. But it's when they get down to the second level, when you see Christian or CJ or Cam pop that run for an extra 5 or 6 yards. If you look around, usually you get an opportunity to see a wide receiver or 2 in the area, having gotten in somebody's way, bumped somebody, blocked somebody, pushed somebody. It doesn't take much to create an opportunity. And it's funny because I know some people have talked about, well, you're number 1 in running, but you're kind of lower middle pack of throwing. Well, yeah, but we've run the ball effectively. And you've heard me. One of the things that we always shoot for is we want to run the ball for over 100 yards a game. It gives us a better opportunity to win. So if we can continue to do that, it gives us a chance to win.
Along that vein, Ron, Norv was talking today about how the offense has really just kind of scratched the surface in terms of what he's shown. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of, and I know that's his bailiwick, but do you think that kind of as he unveils more and more that you guys will see that production uptick in the passing game?
Well, maybe it's the passing game, maybe it's the running game. I mean, you got to look at what the potential's there. You put Curtis back out there, you got Demir back out there, and now you're stretching the field. Well, stretching the field doesn't necessarily only mean receivers, but it also means running the ball. Now the safeties, now they're keeping 2 high safeties instead of just 1. Those type of things can impact the game as well. So, again, it's about who's on the field, and when they're on the field, what do you call?
Back to the run game, how much credit is missing for your offensive line given the number of injuries you guys had to deal with since the 3rd day of camp and guys that have been plugged in, that sort of thing?
Well, I think they've gotten deservedly so enough credit. I really do. I mean, and you talk about it, people bring it up constantly that, wow, what they've done has been great, and deservedly so. They deserve it because they've worked really hard. But to me, a lot of it starts with the coaching. I really do mean. I think what John Masco and Travell Warden have done with the group of guys has been great. I think a lot of it has to do with the mentality that we have in terms of trying to make sure we have guys that give you position flexibility, and then training those guys. And then you got to give credit to the plays, the way they're designed. And then you give credit to the players, obviously, because they're the ones that go out and they're the ones that make things happen. They're the ones that operate and either protect the passer or open up the holes to run the ball. So those guys have gotten the credit. They deserve the credit, and they probably deserve more. But I'm just really pleased with, with the effort we've got from those guys. And, I still think there's a lot more we can do as a football team.
You kind of hit on it. Are they maybe a bit underrated and under?
I think underrated is probably a better word for it more than anything else, because they most certainly are appreciated around here, because they really do appreciate everything they've done for us, and the way they've played. But yeah, underrated would be a fair assessment. And again, a lot of it because some of those guys nobody knows. I mean, they're just starting to find out who Chris Clark has been for us, and who Taylor is for us, and who Tyler is for us, and who Greg is, and people know who Khalil is, and they know who Trey is. But these other guys, they're kind of new to a lot of people.
Ron, we talked a little bit with Norv about, as we were talking about how much of his offense maybe has been displayed so far, and we kind of asked him a little bit about, is there anything he's kind of been itching to do, obviously with so much athletic talent on the offensive side. So I was wondering, in your history as a coach and as a player, is there something a play that stuck out to you, whether you're involved in it or you're watching it, that has really just brought you some delight? It was actually fun to run.
Oh, I think there's a lot of plays like that. On the defensive side, it's when you hit the right blitz at the right time. That type of thing. Whether it's a play action pass or something exotic, yeah, those things are kind of cool to see. So we'll see. I mean, as he said, we're just scratching the surface on what we can potentially do as a football team, and it's been fun to watch as we're growing.
So there's a lot of guys that want to throw passes.
Well, I think the most important thing is we have one guy that wants to throw passes.
Is there a plan for Thomas?
I'm sorry?
Is there a plan for Thomas? I mean, is he looking to be on the field in week 6, or do you have?
Well, I can't address that until next week, so I'll just stick to that right now.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, cool. Thank you, guys.